Canada Strong podcast. We interview Canada's top female amateur to pro strength athletes. And right now, we're doing a special segment from the spring to the fall where we interview the top international athletes all over the world. And these women are the most fabulous of the fabulous. They are the top, the tickety top. And I am Stephanie, Big Stephanie, aka Fantastic the Dancer. Okay. And I'm a dance and fitness educator from Manitoba, Canada. And I'm a third of Manitoba heavyweight strongman and Scottish heavy games athlete. I don't know if that was a Scottish accent. My family's Scottish, but I haven't been to Scotland. So today's episode, our theme is 6 weeks out getting competition ready. And my guest today is the lovely, the amazing Hannah, the Destroyer.
What's up?
It's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger with the gun. Pew, 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 pew. I don't know, just like, hasta la vista, baby. You know?
Yes.
I will destroy you, heathen. I just see like running on a horse, like a warrior with your braids and your hair flowing and shit, with like a crossbow, and then flexing somehow at the same time. And just like taking control, like Joan of Arc, and being like, I am the boss. And then like the weak man, in the corner of the bush, you're like, oh, it's the Destroyer,
Yes, I can see it. I can see it.
I'm feeling the medieval movie coming on. So she is a pro strong woman and power lifter. She's lightweight, and she's the MV State Lightweight Strongman Champion. She's a USAPL Certified Referee. She has multiple state records and holds the lightweight Mauser block press, which is inside in the membrane. And she's also the first woman to bend a hammer, which is badass. If you have not seen it, it's on her IG. Check it out. Now you got me wanting to bend and break everything. I'm just saying.
It's pretty fun.
Just go to Arama, buy a bunch of hammers, practice. She's a strength coach and has a master's in sports science and competed at state, national, and world levels. She was recently in 2020 ranked as one of the top 25 strongest lightweight women in the world. And she has designed online coaching programs that focuses on the mental game, because that is the biggest part. So welcome to our show today. Hey.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I'm pumped.
Oh my God. I'm so glad to have you. I was really nervous, I was biting my fingers when I was messaging you because I didn't know if you'd say yes. And I was like, please love me, be on my show. And then he said yes. I was like, yes. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today, to our show. We appreciate you. We love you. We see everything you do when you tag us and share things. And how do we have to find you on IG, Hannah?
Did you say how can they find me on IG?
Yes, like how can they get in touch with you about your strength programs and your online coaching?
Yeah, so the easiest way to do that is to just follow me at Hannah the Destroyer on Instagram, and then just DM me. And I talk about my program a lot anyways, so if you watch my stories, you'll hear me talk about it. I do have a website. It's powerthroughmovement.net, but it's not super updated at the moment, so.
That's okay. Listen, if you amaze balls, you don't need to have a super updated website, okay? That's only if you suck and shit, all right? Because then it's all like 7 filters, 5 apps, You'll fight. Hashtag Brittany. You guys all know which Brittany I'm talking about. Okay. So anyways, she's the real deal, and she's honestly such a down-to-earth, super nice, kind person, and she's got really crazy arms, shoulder muscles right now, so don't mess around.
And I also have nice lighting. I have nice lighting as well. I'm in a hotel room, so it's like really nice lighting.
A hotel room? Girl, damn. What do you need a hotel room for?
I have a client that's competing tomorrow in powerlifting. So I'm actually in Indiana right now. And she competes tomorrow in Indianapolis. So
nice. Look at the good
support her.
Yes, that is great. Some coaches are like, I don't really feel like going. Do not hire those bougie coaches, okay? If they do that, you fire them, all right? Unless they're like you have to travel like across the world, then I can kind of understand that or something. But anyway, so what got you into the sport of strongman and powerlifting, and which one came first?
Powerlifting. Powerlifting came first. I started I've been lifting since I was 16. I started in high school, but when I went to college, in my undergrad, I had back issues from soccer. I totally like blew out my SI joint in soccer in high school, and it followed me into college. And so I hired a personal trainer to help me with lifting, because I was like, love to lift, and I just couldn't do it because my back was hurting so bad. And he was a strength trainer, and he told me that I'd be good at powerlifting. He's like, give it a try. And I was like, okay. So I started with powerlifting, and then from there he did strongman himself, and he was like, hey, listen, like, you want to come to the dark side? And I was like, yeah,
sure. Destroyer.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, yes. After that, that's when the Destroyer name came along. So
he's like, you will be my squishy. I mean, you will be my destroyer. Go and destroy. Bring back medals for me. I must display them in my gym to show how awesome I am. As he flexes and turns and twists, winks.
Yeah. Something like that.
I feel it. Well, if he came with the name Destroyer, like he's either into wrestling or he plays video games. Like it's got to be one of the two. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he used to be a pro wrestler.
See? Told you. I call it.
You are so good at this.
I am like a spiritual Buddha of the people. My friends, when they were trying to trap a hoe, they would show me like their dating apps and they'd be like, Stephanie, what do you think? I'd be like, hold on. Cheat. And I'd be so brutal, man. And I'd tell them straight up. And I used to like to do it to people just to freak them out. Like guys in the club, I'm like, listen, I know you have mommy issues, but I still like that ass though. So what's up? It's a very helpful thing to be able to read people. But sometimes it messes with your head because then you're like especially like when I'm at a competition, right? Because I'm feeling people's vibes and stuff, and I'm trying to focus on my lift. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a superpower, but it's we're going to talk about that today, you guys, how to own your superpower and work it with how's going to get into that later on. So yeah, so you went for powerlifting, then how'd you switch into strongman?
Mm-hmm. So I switched after I did, let me see, like 4 powerlifting meets, and then I switched to strongman, and I started doing like local meets from there. And with they weren't very big. I was like the only female in my weight class for like the first 3 or 4 that I did. And so I was like, man, I want to do some out of state. And so when I started going out of state, that's when I met like other strong women, and it started to kind of snowball, and then it started to get really popular. And so yeah, that's just pretty much how I got into it, how I started like the whole thing.
But did you see someone online, or was there some sexy man with his big booty walking by? I'm like, I wonder what he does. He's like, I do strongman. They're like, I too will do strongman then.
Yeah, so it was my strength coach was doing it, and he was like, hey, you should do it, because he told me I'd be good at it, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I tried it out. I was like, I'll do one competition, but I'm going back to powerlifting after this. And then I never did powerlifting again. I mean, I still do the lifts, I just never competed again. So he got me into it. And then when I started doing Instagram, I'd made an Instagram, and I started following people that were lifting. And so I started looking for other strong women, and I found the first one that I found was Tracy Stankovic. She was like I remember she was like the biggest lightweight, the strongest lightweight at the time, I think. And because it was kind of new, like nationals was kind of new for women. They had just brought it back and stuff. And so I started following her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like she's amazing. And she came down and did a seminar. And then I got really hooked. I was like, okay, I got to go to nationals. I could do all this stuff. And yeah, just history ever since then.
The history of the Destroyer. Watch next week. I just feel like that should be like a documentary. I don't know. Like I see it, National Geographic. So what gave you the desire to pursue a formal education in sports science, and how has it helped you as an athlete?
Yeah, so I started off in my undergrad with an animal science degree because I had goals of going to vet school, and then I started lifting, right? Started competitively lifting in college, and I was like, I don't think I want to go to vet school anymore. I really love doing this. I really want to help people. Well, specifically, I really want to help women feel as awesome as I do when I'm lifting weights and I'm competing. Yeah. And so that's when I graduated, I did graduate with my animal science degree. That's when I was like, okay, I'm going to get my master's in sports sciences. or athletic coaching. Because athletic coaching, they changed the name like several times while I was there. But anyways,
Whatever's trending.
yeah, basically whatever sounds good at the time. And so, it's like
The science
great.
is a science. Like you can only reinvent it so many times, you know. Starting strength, people.
Yeah, yeah.
Insane.
And so that's why I did that. I was like, I want to do this and I want to start coaching people. And then I started coaching under my strength coach too. So while I was in college, I did an internship with him. I got started getting like a lot of in-person experience. And from there, and then let me see, I did that for several years. And I only just started doing online stuff like 2 years ago or a year ago. Really started taking off like a year ago. And then, and I just wanted to do it because I wanted to help. I was like, I just want to help women feel as badass as I do whenever I lift weights, because it's such a good feeling. I mean, it feels so good. And you're just like, man, I feel so freaking powerful. And I was like, I want to do this. And it helped me. It helped me as an athlete a lot too, because it helped me become a more well-rounded athlete, put it that way, because I was able to learn how like the mechanics of like how your body moves, some of the science behind it. And then also a lot of mindset work too. Like, how to be in the flow state. And I took a couple of sports psychology class, and just that, like those things were like really foundational for my coaching experience and as an athlete.
Well, you're not the first, definitely, that's happened too, right? You start lifting and you want to like pursue it. For me, I always wanted to teach dance. Like ever since I was a kid, I was always into dance, wanted to be a performer. So that was easy for me. And then the fitness thing came just because, me having disabilities and like, and it's always been like a heavyweight, and understanding how people like me generally back in the day when I started fitness years ago, you were kind of, segregated, right? Like it was just a really body shaming, negative environment, and women were not supposed to lift weights, right? It was all about toning. So like you just said, once you kind of get to feel the power, it's like you just don't want to stop, right? And I never thought I was doing strongman, never mind like trying to get other people into it or have a podcast on it, but it's so liberating, right? Like in a way that nothing else is. So on that subject, now I know that you have developed mind training programs that you teach and offer through your Facebook group, and so I wanted to talk about how you've developed it and more about it specifically, and how you use it to empower women to train for strength sports online.
Yeah. So I started the whole thing because I was getting ready for Women's Worlds, the USS Women's Worlds back in, I don't know, like 4 years ago or something. And I knew I was strong enough to do the competition, right? But there was a lot of self-doubt, and I was dealing with a lot of like pressure on myself. And I was like, I'm going to be lifting with international athletes. Like there's people coming from Australia, like Canada, like I was like all in my head about it. Yeah. And I read this book. My boyfriend gave me this book. It's called With Winning in Mind by Laney Basham. And it changed everything for me. And that's about the time that I was taking my sports psychology class too. So it kind of just meshed perfectly together. Yeah. And I really started to work on my mindset there, because it was like all about mental training, because he was an Olympic athlete, a gold medalist in rifle, I think. And he was talking about the mental aspect of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. So I started using some of his techniques, and then some of the stuff from my sports psychology class, and then things that I had just learned along the way. Like I started to meditate a little bit. I started to visualize and just try all these different things to see what worked for me. And so that's kind of where it started. And then from there, so that was like 4 years ago. And then from there, I've just kept up with the mental side of it. And I've continued my education in it constantly. Like every time I get a chance to do a seminar with any kind of pro athlete or whatever, I'm always asking them about their mindset, always asking them like, hey, how do you view this? How do you go into this situation, this really stressful situation? Like watch Olympians and how they deal with pressure, because, they come off as like, they feel no pressure, but they definitely do. They're just able to use it in a more positive way than say like an amateur athlete. And so I just studied things and like educated myself a lot throughout the years. And that's how I formulated the whole program, was based off of like everything I'd learned and everything that I had applied myself. And so I took some other people through it, and it was really successful. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make this a thing, because the one thing that I see missing out of a lot of fitness is there's no mental aspect to it. Like everybody has programming, everybody has these coaching programs, and they're all, they're awesome and they're really cool and people are getting stronger, but they're still hitting all these plateaus and they're still going into competitions. I would talk to athletes and women all the time at strongman competitions who would talk down about themselves. And I'm sure you have experienced the same thing, where they're like, I'm going to go in, like they go into a lift thinking this is going to be so heavy, or they go
there's so many reasons. Like you still feel like you need to like apologize for being powerful. You need to apologize for wanting to lift weights, or that it's, like I said, less feminine, especially as a mom, like, the stereotype that you're neglecting your kids, or that you're putting your kids second, and that you can do that when they get older. So there's just, as a woman, and then you're thinking about, how do my boobs look? How's my ass look? Is my ass gonna, my pants gonna split when it's flat? Like, you're just saying, there's so much. I feel like women, we think we're such detailed kind of spaghetti brain thinkers that I feel, not saying that men don't have pressure, don't think about a lot of stuff, but I feel like women, especially, not to sound sexist, I'm just saying that a lot of times, like you said, is we were never taught that. We were never role modeled and exampled that in our childhood, how to deal with that. It was always just like, you're women worry. And I mean, and I'm not making this up, if you watch TV shows or any movies, they still to this day make fun of that female stereotype. And I hate most movies, because I'm like, that's not the women that I look up to. Those aren't the women I know in my community. That's not an accurate description of how women look. But, we have this almost like this battle with this woman that, was contrived by the people who were raised by, or women that we've seen in, like I said, movies, TV, magazines. I'm not just talking about skinny models, I'm just saying in general, like, so we almost battle with that. Like, it's almost like giving ourselves permission, right? Being allowed to just compete, right? But personally, that's what I think, like you said, that I've seen when I've been with other women, at competitions.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it's dealing with that, and how to move yourself through that so that you can still be successful, move through those plateaus, move through those mindset blocks. Cause that's what they are, right? You go up to a heavy log and you're thinking about your pants. Like, that's not what you want to be thinking about, right? That's not the optimal thing. Or you're thinking about right now, or like with somebody else.
You know what? The Lululemons today.
I know. Like, but somebody, yes. We're worried about what someone else
I didn't wear a pair of underwear. Everyone's going to see my coach. I'm not just going to pee. Everyone's see my coach.
Listen,
I'm not even a baby yet. I don't want anyone to see my cooch. I feel like the single women out there have thought that. Come on, admit it. I'm like, see my cooch, man. I had C-section. Now, a lot of people see my cooch. I'm pretty sure at least 40, 50 people saw my cooch in the waiting room, so it's fine.
You're like, I'm good now. I'm good.
It's good. I'm good. I've been exposed. It's all good.
Great.
I apologize. I apologize. I'm planning to you guys at a show. I also did burlesque, so
Yeah.
Anyway. Building blocks. Building blocks. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Every time I think of Ash, I think of her because of her ass shots on Instagram. They're hilarious. They're great. But anyways.
It's awesome. Yes. Yeah. So just that's why I formulated that's why I started the whole program, started the Facebook group, was to just put together a community of women who, want to move past that and want to level up and want to get strong AF and, want to, then maybe they have the programming and all that in place, but they're just still not feeling confident. I see a lot of that. So that's what that's for. I formulated the whole program for that.
You're making me think of the song, Level Up, Level Up. Level up, from all the songs so yummy, all the songs so yummy. Oh, you want this on your tummy? That is right there. That's your theme song, dude. Same.
Yep. I need that like for the intro music for the program.
Yeah, when you walk into a competition, level up. So like a guy rapping it with some kind of rock vibe. Level up.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, your has entered.
Yes.
So I feel this wrestling vibe from you. I really feel like you need to wrestle. You do some mass wrestling. Yes.
Pro wrestle.
Whoops some ass.
I do have a video. It's like way far down. It's from like 2 years ago in my Instagram where I did pro wrestle my boyfriend. I did what's it called when you just like they run into your arm and then they fall? I forgot what it's called. Anyway, I don't remember, but I did do pro wrestling. It looked cool. And I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I should do this. And then I was
Sorry, go ahead. feel like if we wrestled, you'd be on top of me, just smacking me, and I'd be like, oh, God, shit, I was not expecting your
It would be great. It
Calm
would be
down.
awesome. You could do so many cool things.
Listen, anyone wants to pay to fly me out to wrestle Hannah, I will do it. I'm telling you 1000%. If you followers, listeners, you want us to wrestle each other within reason, I'm
Do
down.
it. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Who is truly the strongest woman of all? Everything needs to be said in this, like, where's that voice from? I watched way too many freaking martial art movies as a kid, obviously. Yeah, so what were some of the obstacles and challenges that you faced when training for strength sports as a lightweight athlete, and how did you overcome them?
Some challenges. So definitely the mindset portion, but I already went through that the way I got through that was I educated myself on how to work through mindset blocks and things like that. And so when it comes to mindset, so for whoever's listening to this, if like you're really new to it, one of the first things I tell my clients to do, and something that I find that is really super helpful when you're first starting off with like mindset and leveling up with that type of thing, is to write down any of the negative thoughts that you have throughout training and then go and rewrite them in a more positive or neutral way. So that's just like just a little pro tip there that I wanted to add in for anybody who's listening, because that's really helpful. And that's what really helped me level up as far as mindset goes. And then something else that was a real big struggle for me was nutrition. I have continually gone up in weight. Like I started off in I think it's the 123 class in powerlifting, and then went up to 132, and then stayed around 140 for the Strongman Corporation. And now I'm heavier than that, and I'm cutting again. So it's always been something with nutrition with me. And that was really a huge struggle for me. Not really like the way that I looked, but it was just like, okay, how do I eat so I stay in this weight class? I know a lot of other athletes deal with that too. And something that helped me get over that was I did hire a nutritionist, and I learned a lot from them. And then after that, I just took what I learned from that, and I just started counting my macros. And I know a lot of nutritional coaches don't love that. They do, but it works for me. So I do that. Obviously trying to keep it as healthy as possible, but it also allows me to eat like pizza and, whatever sometimes when I want to. And then what else did I struggle with? I struggled with my overhead press for a really long time. I struggled with upper body movement because it was really frustrating for me. And then I made it a goal of mine to become really good at it. And that's when I started training to set the world record for the Mauser block press, because I was like, I am going to make pressing my best event. And ever since then it has been. So,
yeah. Well, what I found in life in general is usually your greatest strength is your greatest weakness, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm a chatty Cathy, right? Which is great for a podcast, but my youth, I really had to learn how to shut up. And I still have to work on that all the time, right? Of like, balancing the yin and yang, right? So it's like, it's a hidden superpower, right? So the things usually that where your greatest struggle and challenges is also where you're going to find the most success. So instead of running to kind of like the low hanging easy fruit, it's like you push into that, right? Because our like our reptilian head, our survival animalistic head is just run away, run away. You know what I mean? Or quit. Right. We just get lazy, right? But it's like, if you push past, like, I know it sounds really silly, but I for 10 years ago, I never thought I could make my own website. I never thought I could do any of that stuff because of my learning disabilities. And I really want to focus on the mental game for a couple of reasons. Like I said, if you have disabilities, I've talked to a lot of women actually and a lot of people have undiagnosed disabilities and don't know themselves at all, because in my generation, it was really still an unknown science, right? So you either got misdiagnosed or not diagnosed, or diagnosed with something you didn't even have. So it's just a hot mess. So once I was determined, I was like, if I'm ever going to like have a good life, if I'm ever going to be successful and not waste my potential, I need to figure out how my brain works, and I need to figure out how to stop negative processes in my head. And so part of that was I spent, I think, 3 hours, and I'll try to find it so I can post it if you guys want to do it. But I wanted to figure out, like, I was diagnosed with ADD as a kid. I don't actually have ADD, but a lot of the stuff I have mimics it. But anyways, once I figured that out, it's like now I'm a 4.5 GPA online. Anything I do, I can figure out. But thank you, girl. I'm not talking about thank you, because some of the stuff I really struggle with. So I was able to take, I think it was like 48 courses in like 3 years online, which is insane, especially having young kids at home. It's crazy. Like I think it was like, I don't even know how many hours, a lot. I'd have to look. But like I was just like, I'm going to learn the way that works for me, and I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to shame myself. But it's a habit of every time it's like my head's like, oh, you know, just to like keep pushing through. And on the second part of what you talked about with the nutrition and the body image thing is like, it's not talked about enough in the strength community with women. When I see a lot of times of groups, women can be really negative on themselves in terms of like, I'm not saying you shouldn't count macros, because I think like for me, I just been doing it for so long, I don't need to like, you know, weigh or measure something out. I can eyeball it, right? A tablespoon off here and there is not gonna matter because I'm not trying to bodybuild, right? But anywho, it's like we get hung up, right? Like you talk about mental blocks, some of it's just getting hung up on food. Like I used to do this when I first started training for a strongman. Oh well, you know what? I'm not even joking you. I would be like, I guess I ate pizza, or I guess I didn't eat enough cheese, or I didn't do or did do this. I guess I can't work out tonight because I don't have the proper nutrition in me, and I guess I'll just feel fat and gross. I'm like, I used to have the most stupid, like annoyingly harsh conversations with myself in my head, and now it seems crazy to me because I'm past that. But you know, if someone called me fat or made a comment to me, it would completely stop me if I could see that someone was like underestimating me based on my size. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, bitch, do watch, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's my favorite thing of like canceling them back, you know what I mean? Like proving them wrong. And that's what happened with your record, right? Is like you said, well, instead of letting this destroy me, there's a way, right? Like you just have to figure that out. So on that subject of mental blocks, what are some key tips and points in terms of nutrition and training programs for athletes? Like what do you think they should follow when they are 6 weeks out and they're getting competition ready, especially for, like I said, new athletes to strength sports?
Yeah. So on the mental side, my suggestion for sure is to get a hold of your self-talk. And you talked about that. And so it's really being aware of it. And like I said, the best way that I have found with my clients that I've worked on is just to write down what you're thinking throughout your training, especially because, you know, like 6 weeks before, you want to make sure that you have that dialed in. So that by the day that your competition comes in, you're ready, you're focused, you know, you're not worried about anybody else but yourself. And so that's a great place to start. And then from there, it's visualizing. So visualize yourself being successful and then bringing in key elements into your visualization. It's kind of like it's not meditation per se. It's similar to it, but I like to think of it as more like, I guess, like an active, I don't know, meditation. But how I do it is, or how I have my clients do it is when they visualize, I'll have them bring in their senses or, you know, like taste, smell, touch, whatever. So if like, say they want to go for an overhead, or like, let's say they want to go for a max deadlift, like how's the bar going to feel in your hands, right? What's the knurling going to feel like? How's the weight going to feel when you pull it up? How are you going to feel when you've completed that lift? How badass are you going to feel? What's the room going to be like? What's the room going to smell like? Who's going to be there? Who's going to be cheering you on? Things like that, and bring in as much detail as possible. And you'll find that on competition day, if you're consistent with this, big keyword here is consistency. So we all know consistency, you know, makes results. Yeah. So you'll find that you'll be way less nervous and you'll feel much more confident in your abilities because you've been able to see yourself do that over and over again. And then as far as nutrition goes, like when it comes to 6 weeks out and being a newer athlete, is just focusing on like, and I'm no nutritionist, so I'm not gonna like act like I'm some nutritionist, but if someone were to come to me, I'd definitely say, you know, don't really so much worry about, you know, anything at this moment. Just worry about getting in enough protein, right? You got to be able to build those muscles back after you.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I look at it is if I just pig out on protein all day, the chance of me, because I definitely don't have a large appetite. I don't know why. I just don't. Well, I do know why. I abuse myself. Like with my eating disorder for way too many years. So I can't overeat. So if I pig out on protein, the chance of me wanting to pig out on a big bag of chips Because I used to be able to do that, like, next to nothing. Like I couldn't even have more than 2 slices of pizza now. And I'm not comparing, I'm not saying you have more than 2, but I'm just saying, like, it's like you just said, is like when you put all of your energy focused on like the good and what works, and you have to think a lot less about what doesn't work. So I used to do in my 20s, I bought these stupid books because I was all into self-help and self-motivation, mental health. And I used to do what Abraham Lincoln did, which is I would write down all the negative qualities I didn't like about myself. I'm not even shitting you. I did this when my early years when I was like bodybuilding and training and shit, or as a vegan. So I made like a chart, and I'd be like, hey, you talk too much, you did whatever. And I would, every time I did something I didn't like about myself, I would check it off, and then I would feel like shit. Like it did not help me grow. It just made me become like almost paranoid about myself and self-obsessed, and it was really unhealthy. And it put me in a really dark place mentally, and very kind of emo and depressive in that sense, like really big highs and really big lows, because I would take into account all this like sin or mistakes I made. And I think once again, women typically tend to be like much harder critical on ourselves than our counterparts a lot of the time. And I think once again, a lot of it has to do with the way that we're raised. So I did like vision boards, like what you're saying. The census thing is amazing though. I'm like, girl, I'm gonna add that to my little notes here. But it's like focused on like how it's gonna feel, how everything feels like good, because you never know the possibilities that could exist on the other side if you don't prep yourself for it, right? So prepping the senses, like what you're saying in your mind, then it doesn't feel weird and tingly and nervous. Like people say to me, like, how do you walk up on a stage not so nervous? I'm like, there's a time when I first went out, and like I have pictures and videos of me when I first started performing in burlesque, and I have like the look of fear and death in my eyes because I was legitimately like gonna pass out or bars. Now I just walk in and I'm like, and I'm heavier, and what made the difference was just not being like that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah. And some of it comes with experience, right? Like, but it's having that, your mindset there to back you up, because even if you had a bunch of experience and you're still self-degrading, like you're not going to get anywhere. But
yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Even with consistency and you're doing all the right things, your mind will mess you up, man. It'll trip you. Cut you at the knee. I love that you're a lightweight. Like you're just so powerful looking. If you guys haven't seen some of her pictures, they're pretty amazing. She's like, I'm just gonna hold a human above my head, no big deal. So what are some things that you recommend athletes avoid doing in, like, I know you're not a nutritionist, but in terms of nutrition and training plans when they're 6 weeks out?
I would say avoid eating like pizza every day of your life. I'm not saying that you can't have it, but I'm saying like those foods, like if it's all you got, right? And say you had a certain amount of calories that you have to hit every day and all you have is pizza, then you do what you can, right? You do what you can with what you have. But I would say just dialing it in a little bit as far as nutrition goes. Like you don't want to eat a bunch of BS every single day, because your body isn't going to recover as well as it could, say, if you were getting like an adequate amount of protein and an adequate amount of fat and an adequate amount of carbohydrates every day. Like, so I'm not saying nutrition's so hard to talk about.
I know what you're trying to say, but I want not to interrupt you for a second, but I want to make a key point about fat. It's like fat insulates the joints. Okay. A little chub is good. Okay. So it's like when you're lifting heavy weights, you need to have calcium, you need to have fat, you need to have things supporting your muscles and your bones. If you're dehydrated, right, and you have lots of salt in your body, for example, because you're not drinking a lot of water, then you have a higher chance of injury, right? No matter how many times you ply your knees. So it's like, it doesn't always have to be the most, I take the most epic sports nutrition brand, PXLE or something, right? But you know what I mean? It's like, there's certain things you just don't mess with, right? Like, you need to sleep before your competition. Make sure you get a ton of sleep before you have your competition, Absolutely. Right? Like Absolutely. That, and do not water cut. You're not a bodybuilder. Like, I mean, right. If you're trying to get in the category, I get it, but it's not the healthiest thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Especially if you're new, right? If you're new, I'm like, do not water cut until you have some stuff under your belt. Like, get 5 competitions in, then maybe you can start thinking about it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if it means that you can't compete because you can't meet the weight category, then wait. Like, honest to God, the competitions aren't going anywhere. Like, I think I trained 2 years for my first competition because like I really wanted to make sure my body was in a good place because I didn't really want to get injured because I was really scared because after my first son I was paralyzed and it took me so long, like 4 years to recover from that. And I was like, fuck, if I mess myself up like that, I won't be able to take care of my kid. I won't be able to work. I can't provide for my family. So it wasn't worth it for me. And this time around too, I was like, okay, I know what worked the first time I was in the situation. I didn't have a C-section last time, but still, I was like, I need to do this proper, right? As much as I want to, max PRs out on the barbell, I've been focusing a lot on foundation, right? Again, right? The yoga, mobility exercises like my Pilates, my dance, and like, bodybuilding, not super high reps. Like I'm still sticking within kind of powerlifting ranges, but I'm not maxing on ones. Like, no.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right. That's another thing I was going to bring up. So you did it. So you pretty much did it, but recovery for sure. Definitely make sure you're sleeping, get in any kind of active recovery that you can. So like walking after a workout or something is good for active recovery. Sleep is definitely the number one. And then, just dialing in your nutrition a little bit. And then, and then not maxing out. Don't max out. Save it for the competition. You don't need, if the competition weight is a max weight for you, don't do it 6 weeks before. Save it.
Yeah, I did that because I'm a dumbass on my first competition.
We all have. You'll totally burn yourself out. Just save it. And it's an ego thing. Like we're real ego. We're like, we want to see how much we can lift, but it's like, yeah, you're gonna screw yourself in the long run. It's not worth it.
I couldn't compete, man. I fucked up my shoulder and my elbow. I don't remember what I did, but I hurt it really bad. And then the day that I was on TV to promote the competition, I was like, ow. I was like, I can only do one rep of this, and it hurt. And then so what I decided to do for my second competition was dig all. I just did regular training and slept and ate really healthy and lots of water. And then I kicked ass. I did 3 times as good. So I was like, yeah, son. People underestimate sleep. Like when I go to the gym and people would see me train, they'd be like, where the fuck do you get all this energy from? Like, what's your secret? And I'd be like, I sleep like a panda, bitch. And it's true. I sleep all the time. Not now because I have a baby, but like, so under that subject, because of lockdown. So Manitoba, they're like, oh yeah, screw you, no schools. Oh yeah, by the way, if your kid talks to another kid at the park, we'll arrest him. Bala will arrest, like they're getting crazy. Like they're shutting down everything. And so you can't go to the store with your kids here. It's insane. Like it's something out of a movie. I'm not even joking you. Like life is completely shut down. Sports, school, everything. So I was like, okay, I've got a teething baby. I've got toddlers in my space all the time. I'm trying to tucker them out in the sun all day long. And I'm a redhead, okay? So I'm not joking. People don't know you can actually have an allergy to skin that can allergy to sun on your skin. And I developed it as I got older. And I actually broke out in like this insane rash over my neck.
The red bumps.
Okay, and all they're scared. I'm like, what is that? What is that? Anyway, so my point was, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take it back in terms of the heavy lifts for now. I'm still going to be doing healthy things. People really underestimate walking. I was like, the best thing I do for myself is make sure I'm getting to my meals to this stressful time. No matter what I'm doing, if I'm not sleeping, I cannot handle these kids by myself all day. It's like the definition of torture, isolating the mother by herself all day long. So, I mean, thank God I have all these other healthy things, but for me, it was like, I need to keep this strong because otherwise everything is going to go down in flames. So yeah. And then I was like, now everything's kind of, coming back on track, but it's not talked about, like I said, enough is mental health. And when you neglect it for years, all it takes is a compound amount of stress to take you out. And if you're more stressed, you have a higher chance of getting injured at competition too. So in general, right, the greatest way to reduce stress, right, is sleep, fresh air, like walking, and sun exposure. Science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Science.
I want to like science, but yes, definitely. Sleep is totally underestimated, and for sure, it's definitely made a big game changer for me. I try to get at least 8 hours, and if I don't, I'm a zombie. So
I'm not even ashamed, man. The best part, the best part about being like a stay-at-home mom before I had my baby with my toddler, I'd be like, bro, I just like feed him all the stuff he loves. I'm like, here, and I just give him like a pile and new toys, and I'd be like, I'm gonna go to bed, okay? See you in a bit. And so I just pass on the couch, just drilling everywhere, and you just sit on me, watching TV, eating snacks. And I'd be like, my husband would come home and I'd be like, you know, like puddle of, you know, drool everywhere. And that's the key to my success. Yes.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
That's some solid advice. That's solid advice.
Solid advice, man. Melatonin. Guys, you can get this Dr. Teal's melatonin lavender bath. And usually stuff bothers me when you're asthmatic. That stuff bothers me. But anyways, oh my God, it makes you fall asleep, and that's the 8. And because the thing is, my mind is like tick, 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 right? So I knew that the only way to do that was to be like, I had to be really habitual about when I sleep, making naps a priority during the day, especially if I didn't sleep well the night before, like 1 to 2 naps a day for at least an hour. They say women need at least 12 hours of sleep compared to men. I mean, some women can get away with less because a lot of that has to do with genetics for sure, and even the climate of where you live. But, you know, women should get more sleep. So I like literally drug myself out naturally at night and have a warm bath for my joints. Because with my disability, I'm always in kind of chronic pain. So that's the only way I can kind of deal with it. But also, if I don't exercise and I don't stretch, it makes my pain even worse. So I have to really balance the shit out of everything. Otherwise, it's just a hot mess and everything falls apart. So that's my advice for someone who has like complicated challenges to work with, is like, it only destroys me if I let it, kind of thing. Right.
Right.
So it's like sleep. I was going to say sexy time. That's also helpful.
Yeah. Stress reliever.
Yeah. Oh, single ladies. So anyways, yeah, so tell us more specifically about the strength coaching services you offer online, like the names of the programs and where they can get it and access it.
So I have Get Strong AF 1-on-1 is where I do programming. So it's like strength programming. And with that, it starts off with 14 weeks of like one-on-one coaching with me. It's all online. It's like you get coaching calls, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Customized programming, you know, all that jazz. And we do a lot of mindset work. With that
jazz.
Yeah, you know, that jazz.
That's awesome.
And then, so I only take 5 clients on with that at a time, because it's very intensive and it's very time consuming. And it's very like, I like, the reason I do that is that I make sure that they're all successful. Like, and so I take a very small amount of people. So it's actually full right now, but I do have a waiting list. So if anyone wants to get on that, they can just message me and I'll put them, you know, reach out to you whenever some spots open. And then Becoming the Valkyrie is the mindset portion. So that's a thing in and of itself. And if you work with me one-on-one, then you get that. So with the programming, it comes with it, but it's also a separate thing by itself, because a lot of people already have programming down, right? And they're just missing the mindset portion. So that is 8 weeks. And you get a call with me before and you get a call with me after to make sure things are good and you are moving forward as soon as the program's over. And with that one, you can go to my website, so powerthroughmovement.net. And there is it's the second, it says programs, and then you click programs and you'll see it. And you can apply for it there. Or you can just message me and I'll send you details. It's real easy. It's easy to DM me. I'm a conversationalist, so just DM me. That's the best way.
She chill like that, you know.
Yeah, just get in my DMs.
Some guys message you later.
I was like, wait, in a very non-creepy way.
Girl, I heard you wanted me to creep into your DM.
It's not that kind of invitation.
Oh, what's that motivation song from Normani? There's a clip there in that song, the lyric. I'm gonna post it, you guys. Those are your songs, I'm telling you. There's some inner hood in you. So yeah, give us 10 rapid fire, whatever you think, some tips for beginner lifters starting out in strength sports.
10 rapid fire things.
Whatever you can think of, girl, give it to me.
Okay, so hire a coach for sure. It doesn't have to be me, but hire some kind of strength coach, and make sure that when you are looking for a coach, that they have cred. And I'm not saying that they need to have a personal training certificate. I'm saying make sure that they have experience. Experience is huge. They could have no certification, but know exactly what they're doing because they have experience. Experience to me is more important than certification. 2,
every day.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with dance though, because people would be like, a lot of clients I would get, would be with people who had way more like, formal training than me. And I'm like, yeah, but a basic keys knowledge degree isn't specific sports science though. So it's like, it's like a general bachelor, right? So it's like, it's important to find people who've got years and mileage on them, because nothing teaches you more than mileage in anything, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Learning from your mistakes as a coach, growing,
Yep.
taking continuing education, studying other coaches, other people, right? And
absolutely. Yep. So that and making sure that in your program you have some kind of squat, bench, and deadlift, because those are, or squat, bench, and press, because those are your three biggest strength building exercises. So make sure that when you're looking into that they are working to get you stronger. So being on a specific strength program would be helpful there, especially for a beginner with strongman. And then what else do I have? Obviously work on your mindset for sure. If you start now, then you'll have way less problems in the future and you'll be able to build your confidence now. And it's a continual thing. So don't let that slide. Take action on it. And then
if you want to slide into her DMs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then what else? So I wouldn't stress so much about nutrition. I would just start really small with it. So whatever things that you can control that are really easy. So like maybe just your protein intake. And then from there, after that, you can work on your fats, whatever. And then another beginner thing that we talked about was, don't worry about a weight class. Just go in. If you're going to compete, go into whatever weight class you weigh in as, and don't worry about it. Get experience under your belt, have fun at first, and then move forward from there. One of my mistakes as a new athlete was cutting weight. And then 2, it was not having fun. I took it really, really seriously. And that totally screwed me several competitions in. So just have fun. Like just go out there and have fun, see what you can do. And then just be like, okay, this is a learning experience, and move on from there. Don't take anything like super personally. That's and then what else? Oh, find some kind of community, or it doesn't have to be necessarily like in your gym, because I understand that a lot of people work out at commercial gyms and there's not always whatever, but find some other like girl gang or whatever out there online, or somebody you can relate to.
On that topic, then you're going to drop that. So for our non-American listeners, we have 2 Facebook groups. We have Strong Women of Canada, and that's specifically to talk about things related to training with strength sports, more so on the strongman and like the powerlifting side and Scottish heavy games, because Olympic lifting is, it's a whole other beast. And I mean, definitely content we could put on there, but there's other groups that are doing a lot of that. So that's our focus. And our second group is called Train Panda Strong. That's global. So I am always doing virtual, we have our virtual monthly fitness and dance challenges, which are on our website and our YouTube channel. And every time you do it with it, meaning you record yourself doing it and you tag us in it on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook, whatever, you can actually, it equals 1 entry into our draw. So we do monthly draw for prizes, everything from gift cards to like supplements from Supplement King, one of our sponsors. And what's really, really cool is we just launched our online gym apparel lifestyle brand, which is Panda Strong. Pretty sick. Got kind of like, really cool things like Ghetto Savage Fresh, really cool things that specifically for women and women in strongman. So there's never really been a gym apparel brand for strong women that shows women doing strongman things, which is really, really cool. So check that out. Yes. Oh, my light went out. Oh, it's dark now. Oh.
So that's a perfect, but on the side of that, it's a perfect community to start off in, for sure.
And also we do like virtual challenges in terms of like walks and runs, biking, to cover all of those bases. And it fundraises for charities and causes across the world that, that I'm passionate about, everything from bullying to, like empowering women. So there's a lot of ways that you can connect with people just through our group. And then we've made anybody who's been like a guest speaker on our show, like Hannah, they get to become experts in the group. So you can connect with them. And like I said, they can give you advice. And then our guest speakers also put challenges out, like for our fitness and dance challenges. So that's really, really cool. So there's a lot of ways to have fun and stay motivated without having to search in a ton of places for different things. And Hannah and all of our other athletes are on our athlete directory on our website. So if you don't have a pen and piece of paper ready with you right now, top on our website, it's right there. So yes, Hannah. So what, now that you have, been in the sport for a while, going back into, what are some things you maybe would have done differently, going into strongman, for example?
I wouldn't have taken myself so seriously. I'm a very, very competitive person, very competitive, and I take my training very seriously. I still take it very seriously, and it's probably something I'm still learning, to give myself a little bit of grace and actually have fun at competitions. I never had fun in my competitions, so that's so competitive, and I didn't make a lot of friends because I was so competitive. And so now I'm doing a lot better, and I do have lots of friends now. Lots of strongman friends.
So many friends.
But I do now. And yeah. And so that's what I would have done differently, is definitely just had more fun with it, for sure.
You need to learn people need to learn how to laugh at themselves, though. Like, seriously, like, without self-deprecating, but just being chill about it. Like, then that's what actually took away the power, from people when they made fun of me, because they'd be like, "Girl, you fat," and I'm like, "PHAT, homie," and then I would just stick my booty out or my muscles and be like, "Yes, I don't think you're ready for this jelly." Shout out Stephanie B. Busy. In your face, my humps, my humps, my humps, my humps, my lovely lady lumps, my humps, my hump, my humps. Check it out. Jump in on a daily. You guys also need to add this to your playlist. Oh, speaking of playlists, people, if you go on our Spotify, you can find, we have 2 playlists for your training. We have Train Panda Strong Cardio and Train Panda Strong Strength. So you can twerk that ass while you get them gains.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, I was seriously about to say, hey, why don't you have your own playlist? But you do.
I do. So if you want to get in on it and jam with me, and I'm always updating it though. Like, I'll be listening to a song, I'll be like walking with my stroller, I'll be like, oh yes, the song, the power is coming over me, holy fire. And then if it makes me want to shake that ass, then I'm like, click, add to playlist. So it's pretty good stuff, you guys. I got good taste, I have high standards. I will warn you though, is don't play it around with children, because there's Nicki Minaj and there's rap in there. See an old lady, oh, rap. So be careful of being played on your Bluetooth speaker at the park, I don't want you to get kicked out or anything. So how has participating in the sport of strongman changed you personally and professionally?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
I know.
How is it? Well, definitely. It changed me professionally. It changed me from wanting to be a veterinarian to becoming a strength coach. But it also changed me from, I guess, viewing how strength, and how being strong can applies to so many other things in life, right? Like, for me, I used to be a server at a restaurant, and I, for the longest time, wouldn't get a quote real job, because I was like, okay, I didn't go to vet school, I got my master's, but I'm still at this serving job. There's times I felt like a failure, but I was like, no, I'm very, I was still training. So I had that. And I was like, I know that if I'm just consistent with this, it's going to pay off, and I'm going to eventually be able to do this full time. And now I do. So that's definitely the resiliency of strength training and just doing strongman, being able to lift heavy stuff above your head goes well into situations that usually would make me really nervous and make me scared or fearful. I can go into and be like, you know what? I'm stronger than every single person in this room. There's nothing they can say that can hurt me. And just stuff like that, for sure.
Yes, son. It's always really cool when I'm around a bunch of dudes and I just lift a bunch of heavy stuff and like, whoa, you're strong. Movers you're stronger than 6 of my guys. I'm like, I know, so it gives a little it gives a little ego tickle. I'm like, you couldn't afford me, okay? You don't need me, so I would charge 4 times the price of a regular wage. So just so you know. But yeah,
Yes.
it like, it makes you feel amazeballs. Another thing I want to add too, because I don't know how much you work with women who just have kids, is like, I'm really passionate about postpartum fitness and weightlifting now. Because, well, Pilates for sure, 1,000,000,000% yoga and Pilates, never will deny it. It is amazing for you. And same with specific types of dance. Like Zumba and twerking is extremely healthy. Like women, your pelvic floor should be number one, pelvic floor health all the time. And those three things really, 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 really help with that, for mobility. But what was I going to say? Strongman, sports. So when, like, now that I've definitely had my second kid and I had a episiotomy the first time, which I was paralyzed from the epidural, I just started getting feeling in my back now, almost
Wow.
5 years later. And it was really weird the first time it happened, because I was in my kitchen doing dishes and I was like, oh shit, is there a ghost touching me? Because I lost all feeling in my mid and upper back. And so when I first started training for strongman stuff, I really relied on my arm strength and my legs, because I was crawling all fours and couldn't get up. And then this time after having a C-section, it was like that again, but it was just different. Like, I had a hematoma, which is like a blood ball. And so every time I moved, if I didn't just kind of roll around like pan everywhere, it pulled on my, like the muscles, right? And because I gained so much weight, stretched out so much from having this baby, that it was just like having like a ginormous floppy beanbag attached to my front. So it was constantly pulling on my back. And then once I started like walking, like I said, it's really underestimated. I was like, I can't access a pool, I can't access this or that because of the lockdown, but I can walk. So walk and hold on to something. If you're doing like bar, like Pilates bar, like holding on to a chair, like just general movement and rolling around your toes and stretching things out and lengthening the limbs. Because a lot of times with lifts, the problem is length. People don't they don't fully extend into the movement, right? And you learn about extension and resistance from being, I did partner in social dancing for years. So I competed as a bachata dancer and I competed as a lead. So I had to learn how to control women, lift them above my head, dip them without dropping them on the floor, right? So you learn how to use your body, because if you over torque someone, you can hurt them, right? You just throw them into a wall, basically. So you have to learn how to really hone in that kind of push and pull concept. So I think for anybody, just in general, if you really want to get into your body and learn it, and you're like, yoga's not for me, that's not for me, ballroom dancing or anything that involves swing dancing, like West Coast swing, you can dance to hip hop and country music and all that kind of stuff. And you, like I said, it teaches that push and pull. But women who are like, oh, strongman, I'm a tired mom. I'm like, do you know that if you lift with strongman, those movements will help you so much as a mom with your kids in terms of holding them, carrying them, moving them around? Like my baby's 27 pounds at 8 months old. He's literally the size of a year and a half old baby. He's double the weight and he's tall. Like, he's not just this fat blub, 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 blub. But anyways, I walk around with just him on my arm because he hates baby carriers. And my first son, I couldn't do that. There's no way in hell. So I know for sure that's because of my strongman training before. And I know that's also why I'm bouncing back faster than I did, even though I was super fit before my first kid and I was half the weight. So strongman is the lifts as a woman. If you're a mom and you're like contemplating doing that or powerlifting, you're still kind of on the edge and you're struggling. For me personally, if you're like, I don't know if I can compete, I don't know if I want to commit to this, let me tell you, there's no consequences. As long as you're not ridiculous, right? With like pushing yourself too hard in terms of risking injury. There, to me, it's nothing but wins. It makes it easier for me to clean the house. It makes it easier to manage my kids. Like after having my first, there's no way in hell I could have cleaned a 3-story house. Do you know what I mean? I've got 2 kids and clean 3-story house and I'm still just as busy, right? So that's all I gotta say about strongman training. This seems like, you know, because we're always taught just do some like Tony workouts. It seems like, you know, why would you invest the time to lift all these heavy weights? Like some people think it's unnecessary. That's what I'm looking for, is unnecessary. It is necessary. If you have kids or you just had surgery or you, whatever, you're going to have kids. Let me tell you something. This will get you fit as well for that.
Absolutely.
Facts. What do you feel about that, Hedda, on the whole postpartum fitness and moms and pelvic floor health and lifting? Talk to me, girl.
I think, yeah, I agree with you for sure. I do a lot of mobility stuff in my one-on-one, my Get Strong AF one-on-one. So those types of things for sure are really, really important. And I myself am actually going to do, I'm working on finding a ballroom instructor in my area because I don't want to learn how to ballroom dance. like really bad.
Girl, it's like, oh my God. Okay, so Foxtrot, when I can't even put it in words, it feels like, have you ever seen movies like Cinderella and your kid? They're like big ball gowns, and you're like, oh, it looks like they're flying across the floor. Yeah, you literally feel like that. It is the most amazing. You feel like light as air. And as someone who's like a heavyweight, I was like in heaven. Like I was like, oh God, I'm flying. Like literally, because you move so fast that you can't, your toes barely touch the surface. And then salsa on 1 or 2 is just fun because it makes you feel like cute and sassy. And then, like I said, West Coast swing is very like you're at the club with your homies. Like it's really chill. But yes, do it up. And then if you need me to hack that, let me know. And I can teach you tons of stretch movements and exercise you can do for yourself or your partner. And if you need to vet any dancer's dance partner, if you found one day, I vet them through me. I'll let you know, girl. Because I got skills. Okay. I'll make sure you get a good one. All right. I'm just saying.
Yes, absolutely.
And compete as a dude like I did. Do the male roll. It's so much fun.
That's amazing.
I can't actually follow very well anymore because I'm so used to leading that, like, if the lead isn't as good, I'm like, I got this. I'll just make it look like you're doing the work. I'll make you look good. I'm taking the reins. No matter, like, you can't even follow anymore. And I'm like, I know, Strongman has ruined it for me.
Oh well.
Oh well, no big deal. So yeah, like I said, her programs are amazing. I don't even know how I found you. I'm pretty sure you just because you're so popular, amazing. And I mean, you've helped me, and I've helped so many women online. So like I said, get in touch with her, guys. And what was I gonna say? She has everything you need. Like she ain't missing nothing at all. And if you have any other questions or you're on a waiting list, you need a coach right away. Like I said, check out our website because our athlete directory is filled with guests that have been on our show that are personal trainers and strength coaches and can totally help you out. In the meantime, we are here for you. It's all about community. We're here to support you, and your feedback and your questions matter very much to us. So comment, get in touch with her. Let us know what you thought about today's episode, and check out our website for our contest to see what you could win and get involved with our challenges. Exciting news coming when it comes to our virtual competition. So if you haven't heard about that, we're doing a virtual competition. We're actually giving an athlete grant, which is going to be for different lightweight, heavyweight, middleweight, or lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight category. And what's really cool is for every little challenge that you do that we're posting up there as part of the competition, it gives you a higher chance of winning, which is really sweet. And we've got gym apparel, we've got gift cards, supplements, and a lot more other amazing things. So hop on our website and check that out. And if you have a favorite lifter that you want to see on our show, let us know. Tag us on Instagram. And if you want to be a boss panda and elite athlete with us, you can also apply online and get involved on our team. So thank you, Hannah, for being on our show today.
Thank you. I've had a blast. It's been awesome. I love chatting with other badasses.
Because we're both ass, bitch. You know, like we take names every day, everywhere we go. Well, it takes one to know one. That's all I gotta say. So thank you for being on our show and sharing your wisdom with us. You're amazing, and we look forward to seeing you set more records. So lightweight.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Make us heavyweights run on the treadmill a little bit more. I'm just kidding. Everyone. Triggered. So triggered. I have to say at least one triggering comment every podcast, just to make sure you guys are listening. Just keep you awake. At least one on the Sunday. At least one. It's like church. You're like falling asleep and the pastor's talking all things. Just something scandalous. You're like, what? What are all these? I'm gonna die? What the hell? Dragons? There's dragons in the Bible? Oh shit! That's when you listen. Okay.
Yes.
Right? So don't send me any triggered emails. Okay, it's a joke. Anyways, we love you guys. Thanks for listening. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's how the algorithms show up. So if you liked it, follow, subscribe. And see you on our next episode.
Do it. Boom.
Bye, Panda. Boom. So anyways, now that that's over.